Capes and Conundrums. The fire demons conjured by Slade lash out at the huntsmistress, but as her idea of protective clothing for hunting on Skathak merely means clothing that isn't instantly burnt to ash as she leaves the protective embrace of a sky yacht's force field, they're about as effective as water balloons against a battleship. They do block her sight, however, and that's what he uses them for. Unfortunately, she's the type where trying the same trick twice just gets you slammed like an idiot and verbally lambasted as one to boot. He learns this as she grabs his boot and proceeds to hammer-throw him into the opposite wall of the warehouse. He skids down the wall and regains himself enough to kick off it and charge through the air while surrounded by fire. She goes to catch the expected attack and finds only a device that then detonates in a flash of light and a loud bang. There's then a brutal spin kick from the blind side, and she's sent careening to the side and rolls twice before gathering herself and trying to shake out the spots and ringing from her head. "What was that?" she asks. Flashbang. Non-lethal alone, but often paired with other techniques. Slade informs her, and she lets out a huff. Basic armament? Basic law enforcement are permitted to carry them. Slade notes, and she takes a low stance with her tail high and ready to stab or slash. She still uses her bottom left hand to rub the crest atop her head and tries and get some more vision back into it. Does that actually help? Psychosomatically. She replies before suddenly there's a brutal charge in the floor, and Slade can't even shout as his every muscle seizes in the electrical attack. His nerves unjangle just enough to allow a bellow of pain before a chunk of concrete slams into him. It breaks the circuit, and he teleports out of danger before the piece of manufactured stone can shatter against the wall. Patience for her part only caught a glimpse of him. The fight has shifted around in all sorts of ways. It's clear that she's more than happy to play the monster. Well, if that's the case, then Robin, in a Deathstroke mask, is more than willing to hunt. He breathes a bit, and then deliberately runs Axiom through a reactive tattoo that bisects his brand, turning it back on and causing a passive Axiom intake. He's now visible to the preternatural sense. However, he's now also immune to her electrical trick. She crashes through the walkway he was in, and he moves faster than before. She dodges the first kick, but that was just to get him in position behind her, where he has a heartbeat to act, and he uses it to slam down in her back and send her back through the hole she just made to crash into the floor below. She rolls away, and his knee finds the place her back was a moment ago. The concrete cracks, and he slowly rises up. She's on all six and prowling, her massive form utterly silent as she slinks around him, a living shadow of hard points and sharp danger. Also still very much a woman. But what has his attention are the claws, bladed tail, and snap reflexes that are going to be a bitch to deal with. Moving like a shadow over water, she circles him multiple times, clearly making a judgment. "Forgotten something?" "No," she answers. "I still have the cuffs to claim a win, but this is too much fun. I want to keep going." "What kind of example are you setting for your daughter?" he asks. "A good one. Learn from your hunts and enjoy them thoroughly," Patience says before letting out a laugh. "Besides, they've been watching for a while now." "I'm aware," Slade states. "Yeah! Go, Mom!" Megala the Younger shouts out from where she's watching. Between her and Echo Song, it hadn't been too hard to get the cuffs on Roz and confirm the win, but they were too busy watching the show to do the next part of the event. "Don't you two have a bomb to dispose of?" Slade asks before teleporting, as Patience chooses that moment to pounce. She turns it into a handspring and launches upward to spin in the air and grab onto the underside of the walkway he's now on, and outright catches his boot as he tries to kick her off. She rips him off the walkway and hurls him along the underside. His fingers dig in, and he's suddenly hanging by them monkey bar style. She's already chasing after him with the ease of a predator designed to move in 3 dimensions. which is why his countercharge catches her off guard somewhat, and he almost gets a good boot to her head, but she catches the boot instead. He then throws himself, and her reflex to keep a grip on him causes him to swing and start breaking her grip on things. As they start to fall, her tail embeds into the walkway, and she gets a good grip on both of his boots, but he swings himself and starts to punch at her chest, deflecting her second set of arms and getting a few body shots in until her legs come down and he's forced to deflect those, leaving him open for a huge double punch to the stomach as his feet are let go of. He slams into the floor of the factory and has to take a moment to get his wind. She knocked clean out of him back in. She's on him in a moment and is pinned. I think this counts as a win. Yes, it does, Robin admits. I need a trophy from this. A hunt this much fun needs a trophy, she says, grabbing his helmet and quickly finding the latches to pull it off. Hey now, I may need that. Let me up so I can call this in one way or the other, Robin says, and she slinks off as she tosses the helmet a bit. Also, if you want your husband to wear that, it may need to be refit for a Zedden. A good point. Could I trade? She asks him even as Robin rises up. Let me check, he states, and he brings out his communicator. Although for the sake of a survey, out of 10, how would you rate your experience today? 22, she says gleefully. I'm going to be running every member of my family that doesn't need to be dragged out by the tail through the tests, and we're all going to party in these events. Oh, fun. I look forward to our rematch. Or, hell, I want to see you up against Pavel. I wonder how you'll respond to being hunted by a master sniper. Oh, like a twin-shot assassin? We use kinetic rounds. They travel much longer and faster. Robin notes as he activates his communicator. Now let's see about that trophy of yours. Before he can dial anything in the communicator goes off and he simply answers, she can keep the helmet, but it will take a day or 3 to make a custom one for her husband to wear, Overwatch says. You caught that, I hope? Robin asks. I'll hold this one hostage until then. Fair enough, Robin says before holding out his left hand and concentrating on the inlaid kutha marking on the underlayer of the glove. It builds and builds in power, and then abruptly, another helmet is there. I have a replacement. Patience then promptly swaps the unscuffed helmet for the one she's thoroughly scuffed up and sticks her tongue out at him. He blows her a raspberry and switches them back, prompting the older woman to dissolve into helpless giggles. You keep being that adorable, and I'm going to straight up adopt you, little boy. She taunts him, and he snorts. Adoption generally doesn't happen for full-grown men. Maybe not in your current society, but there are old family lines and clans that come together due to adopting someone as perky as you. Thank you for the offer, but no thank you, ma'am, Robin says quickly. Pity. You'd make quite the big brother for Megala. Patience says happily. Ah, so all this was recorded, right? Those little electrical bundles sending out signals are cameras, right? They are, don't worry, you'll get a full recording, he assures her. Is there any rush to us leaving, or... Oh, maybe within 15 minutes or so. We have at least 3 different areas to send people to. We'll be fine. So, who had a fun first day out? Robin asks the other 3 men who had Deathstroke duty. Apuke are fucking horrible. Robin's opposite states. There's a distant, hey! As the Apuk, undaunted nearby, overhears. Oh, shut up! That warfire shit is cheating so badly! How do you make fire that does that? It's not cheating, it's an ancient and honorable technique. The offended Apuk counters as she stomps over. That causes things to burn and melt at a quarter of their normal ignition point. I know. I'll leave you lovebirds to have a friendly chat, Robin remarks, before stepping away from the growing argument. 400 credits in tri-tight bars, says they're banging before dinner. One of the other Deathstrokes says as they follow Robin away. Suckers bet and you know it, the other states. They've been slap-slap-kiss for a week. So you boys have as much fun as I did with my Dzedin Hunt's mistress? I heard she bounced you off every wall in the building and put you through most walkways. To be fair, I tossed her like a rag doll, and flashbanged her at least once. If we were allowed to go deadly, if it was a full deadly contest, there's no telling where it would go. We were both holding back to not kill the other. My money's on the big scary space monster. With tits. I figured you'd be over that by now. Robin remarks, I'll never not be over the fact that one of the most universal shapes in existence is a perky orb with nips. He answers, and I think I can beat you. While you were dealing with Miss Huntress, I had to deal with what I thought was a suit of power armor. What was it really? A mecha. What? A gobe in a mecha. Crazy girl had me thinking I was dealing with a Canador. No kidding. It didn't end there. When I got her out of the mecha, she revealed a mechanical backpack that unfolded into 4 spider legs, and she got huge mobility with that before chucking grenades at me while crawling over every single wall at once. He finishes with a sigh. I think I'm in love. Robin jokes. She is too. She pulled off my mask and then demanded to know where you were. He says, and Robin winces while chuckling. Moretta! She remembers me. She called you a childless dilf. The man intones like he's at a funeral, and Robin snorts hard. Do you have any idea how freaking weird it is to go through a big, flashy fight that ends with some green midget pitching a fit because she wanted to get freaky with someone else? Oh, by the way, watch your back, Robin. I think she might be going full stalker. I doubt it's that bad. She was likely just venting. It's not like we don't do or say stupid things when we think we can get away with it. Robin remarks with a yawn. He then checks his communicator. I've got a paperwork shift before dinner. I need to go. I wasn't kidding about the gob. She was contemplating how to get in here and see you. You make it sound like being chased by a gearhead short stack is a bad thing. It's not. It's really not, Robin says over his shoulder. He then glances back again. Only one of the guys is there. The other must have gotten sneaky and faded away partway during the conversation. Or even at the beginning. It would explain why he didn't contribute to it. He shrugs that off. They're all grown adults in the Undaunted. Unless you had to know where someone was, then you could trust everyone out of sight. His shift starts uneventful as he begins pouring through his legal documents with a fine-tooth comb. Nothing too egregious beyond some grammatical and spelling mistakes. He does have to make a point to write out a few more paragraphs to ensure that the term shall is properly interpreted in the documentation. Just another loophole to close off and make sure that someone can't try to flog them for stupidity. That wasn't their fault. The work is, however, boring, and he takes a few minutes break every hour to stretch out, caffeinate, and turn on some music to clear his mind a touch. Mr. White? Someone asks after a bit, and he turns. It's one of the secretarial office workers. Yes. You have a visitor? The woman says, and Robin snorts. You make it sound like I'm in the hospital or prison. Considering that fight you got into today, I'm surprised you're not in either. She states, and he chuckles in response. He opens the door to see who it is, and sees no one. There's a set of metal clangs, and a green woman slowly rises into view. Hello, Moretta. I heard you had some fun with another death stroke. Playing the field, are we? Really, big man? She asks him as amusement dances across her face. Really. Now how can I help you? I just wanted to make sure that I didn't scare off that big slab of man I saw crashing through ash dunes on a bike. Not at all. He says even as her mechanical backpack legs properly space themselves out, and she starts looming over him, suspended by the backpack harness. Good. Now, perhaps we can talk about meeting up for a private spar? You humans are fun to fight in armor. I didn't expect you to be so violent. I didn't expect humans to be so eager for violence, but if mommy has to get a little rough to get daddy, then she will.